All right, welcome back to the channel. We have a controversy in boxing that just got settled by a simple reading of the rule. Gervonta Davis had a very hard fight with Lamont Roach, during which it appeared that Gervonta Davis should have been credited or counted a knockdown against him, which many people would have said would change the fight. Unfortunately for those people, the referee, Steve Willis, actually knows the rules of boxing and apparently made the right call despite all of the media barking to the contrary. Let's talk about that in this video. All right, welcome back to the channel. Did Gervonta Davis get knocked down by Lamont Roach when he took a knee? And would that have changed the outcome of the fight and given Lamont Roach the win? That's what many people are upset about, what many people are taking away from the fight that took place this weekend. Unfortunately, the people that are balking at it and saying this apparently don't know the rules. I don't have a problem with them not knowing the rules, seeing as that there's a lot of rules in boxing, and that's why you have referees. I myself, when I saw Gervonta take that knee, I thought that should have been counted as a knockdown. But I know that I don't know as much as Steve Willis does, and I don't know as much as the New York State Athletic Commission does, nor do I know as much as the replay person that reviewed it and said, you're right, not a knockdown, keep going. So, did some research, shout out to Phenomenal Show, and we got some answers. Now, before I get into it, let me welcome you back to the channel. If you're new to the channel, please accept my invitation to hit the subscribe button and hit the bell icon so you can be notified of when we release more videos. And if you're a longtime subscriber and supporter of the channel, thank you so much for your continued support. It really does make a huge difference to the channel. But let's get into this. Gervonta Davis was, I can't remember the name of the round, fighting Lamont Roach. And without getting hit by Lamont Roach at all, Gervonta Davis suddenly reached at his eye, moved, put his knee on the ground, and the ref started counting. Gervonta said, no, I had something in my eye. I have something in my eye. Oh, and so Steve Wills says, oh, you have something in your eye. This is what it looks like. Okay, don't worry about it. Da-da-da. Fight continue. Right? So, what is the problem here? Well, the problem is in the rules. Now, before I give you the specific rule, or let me give you the specific rule. A knockdown is when somebody's hit, put down on the canvas, right? They take a knee or whatever. It automatically makes the round a 10-8 round unless the round was dominated, right? But in the case that somebody takes a knee, when they have a glove malfunction or they have an equipment malfunction and it's not caused by a punch, or they have something get in their eye, and that was a specific example used in the rule, something in their eye. If they do that and the referee accepts that something was in their eye or their equipment was malfunctioning, the referee can call it a slip, let him fix it, and keep going. And that's exactly what Steve Willis did. He followed the rules. He saw that Gervonta Davis had something hit him in the eye. That is something, not a punch. According to the rule, he can call that at his discretion a slip, or he can call it a knockdown. But if he determines that it was due to a malfunction of the equipment, not a knockdown, just a slip. And that's what Steve Willis did. Now, if you look at what happened, that's exactly what happened. It was not a punch that was caused. That knockdown was not caused by Gervonta Davis. It wasn't a situation where by Lamont Roach, where a punch landed and Gervonta Davis then was wobbled and took a knee. It's not the same situation. Now, me, and I always say this, I try to stick to things in boxing that I really do understand. And when there are areas where people are greater experts, I tend to lean on them. So if you look at Steve Willis, and Steve Willis is somebody that's been a world-class referee for 20 plus years. I do believe he was on the verge of retiring, and he may have come out of retirement to officiate some more events. But guys like that know their job. So if you don't like their call, you just kind of got to live with it. But me, I'm not upset about it. If he had called it a knockdown because he took a knee, that was my understanding of the rule when I saw it. So, hey, man, I understood the frustration. But again, I had to think, why would Steve Willis make that decision? I've had communications with Steve Willis before. I've watched Steve Willis, and Steve Willis has an excellent reputation as a referee. And guess who he has more experience as a referee than? Any of the journalists complaining about it, any of the YouTube content creators complaining about it, most people listening to it. This man has infinitely more experience in that area and has never had anybody accusing him of being somebody that was on the take or somebody that was doing a bunch of things where they know they were intentionally trying to get over on another fighter. That's not the reputation of Steve Willis, and Steve Willis is backed up by the rules. So people are just going to have to get over it. Not that getting over it's going to change it at all, because again, it was a draw. And I tell you, even if you would have called that round a 10-8 and he would have called it a slip, that doesn't guarantee that the fight is going to turn out as a draw or a win for Lamont Roach. Because Gervonta Davis would have known that was a slip and known he had to come back from that. And you'd have to see what he would have done, whether he would have picked it up in some more rounds, how he would have gone about trying to think himself through that fight. But, I understand that people, are anxious to see, some people just want the rules called correctly. And I don't have a problem with that. I was wondering what was going on with it. But once you get a reasonable explanation, then you just got to move on, man. I heard Dan Rayfield, and I like Dan Rayfield. I subscribe to his what do you call it? That Substack. I subscribe to his Substack. I listen to his his writings. I think he's obviously very knowledgeable in boxing, but he's one of these media guys that go too far, that think because they've been covering the sport for so long that they know exactly everything that's supposed to happen in the ring. And then instead of just saying what happens, they start vocalizing and getting upset. This is the worst thing that I've ever seen in my life. I can't believe this took place. Bro, are you sure you know the rules? Are you sure? Because I know that I have seen other things take place like that. Like something go wrong, the fighter just turn around and go to the other side of the ring, and the referee say, hold on, and they have to check it. That type of stuff happens. When Terrence Crawford had a glove malfunction, they had to stop it and check it. Now, say that if he would have had the glove malfunction and it wouldn't have been the referee that would have pointed it out, it would have been him. And he would have been like, oh, my glove busted. And he just backed up and never got touched and took a knee and showed the guy his glove. It's a busted glove. You got to fix it. That wouldn't have been a knockdown. That is essentially what they're saying. What Steve Willis is saying is the case with Gervonta Davis and the knockdown with Lamont Roach. But I'm happy for Lamont Roach. Again, I think Lamont Roach fought a terrific fight. I knew that Lamont Roach was a legitimate fighter because he's a world champion. And you don't become a world champion without being a legitimate fighter. There are different levels of world champion, and yes, some are better than others. But at the end of the day, hey man, he is that right now, and he competed like that against Gervonta. Anyway, that's my take on the matter. Please let me know what you think in the comment section. And with that, I'm out. Deuces.